anyone would ever feel like that, but you do have that propaganda going on. Just like I said with the Best Man Holiday, when the director did an interview and mentioned, he wanted to find the type of man that will be able to handle the strength of a black woman. And to me, that was kind of insulting because it alludes to white men being the best mate for a black woman who is successful and strong. And that's simply not the case. Once again,
what do you mean? I mean, people are good for people. I don't think people are defined by their skin tone, as I said before. You're so racially based. People are not defined by their skin tone. There are people who act strong that are men. There are people that act strong that are women. There are white strong people, and there are strong black people. There are weak white people and weak black people. Weak black people. So, I mean, that's how it is. Alright, continue.
Why am I against interracial dating? Because I was in an interracial relationship where the white man made fun of taking advantage of me because I paid for his dinner since he was too broke to pay for it on his own. He even bragged about buying steaks with food stamps. Never have to go to awkward social events. Don't give pricey gifts because I don't have a cent.
No, that's your fault. Like I said, you picked wrongly because you're picking people based off of a color instead of picking people based off of their character. So that's what's going to happen. And it's not just that, because that would be a case of chance, right? It's actually a case of low self-esteem because you literally think white people are above black people while being a black person. So that's the dumbest way to view yourself. And you're going to have low self-esteem. And because you have low self-esteem, you're going to pick people who are going to treat you like shit because you have low self-esteem. When you have low self-esteem, you get people who are broken and people who are looking for someone who is broken. So that's just how it is. Continue, though.
Stamps buy me lobster and steak, the rest of the month's TV dinners and cake. And the thing of it is it's interesting that he will be sitting in here mentioning food stamps because you always hear this right-wing.
The majority of white people are on food stamps. I mean, the majority of people on food stamps are white people. Sorry, I made a mistake saying that. So that's not really a shock there. But I think that's your misconception of thinking that it's other races that are on food stamps or whatever, and thinking poverty doesn't affect all races. It affects white people, black people, Asian people, Hispanic people. We have rich black people, rich white people, rich Hispanic people, rich Asian people, everything in between, okay? So, I mean, like, that's your problem that you made that stereotype against yourself as a black person in favor of white people, and then you went and got someone who proved all that wrong to you, and then you're mad at them because they proved your own self-deprecating assumptions wrong. This is why you shouldn't make those assumptions and choose better. Anyway, continue.
Propaganda of black people being on welfare, despite the fact that most welfare recipients are actually white people. So it's interesting that he would get to sing about this in a song, and yet you still have that myth being perpetuated of black people mooching off the system and white people working hard and using their intelligence and talent that doesn't exist to get everything that they have. When we already know that's not the case. Yet,
well, why did you just paint white people in a broad brush, though? Just because there are white people on welfare and there's black people on welfare doesn't mean white people and black people who aren't on welfare aren't using their brains and their education and things of that nature to, do better for themselves. That doesn't mean that they aren't getting a job to support themselves and not using the government, even if they're not educated, but just not living off the government, So, I mean, like, why are you just assuming just because there are some white people on the government or black people on the government, that doesn't mean all are. This is a racist view towards people in general. If you're going to say some people are doing a bad thing of a race, that means they're all doing it. But you've already proven you're racist. Continue.
He never admit that he used my food stamps to buy all of that. And he's probably laughing with his Nazi punk friends about how blacks are supposedly welfare queens. Yet he's the weirdo bragging about using food stamps and not being able to buy things for himself while taking advantage of girls for their money while he's at it.
Okay.
So while some swirlers love to say that the white man loved them better than the black man, they don't realize that while their white boyfriends are loving or complimenting them on their natural...
I think people who find a good partner can love that person. I don't understand. How do you mean someone's more capable of love because they're white or black? This is stupid. Continue.
...hair and their fierce attitude, they may also be taking advantage of them, but as long as we keep on complimenting these men for actually seeing...
Sweetie, I think what's your problem here is that you don't realize that people who are attracted to people outside of their race are probably just naturally that way. You know, it's not like they're just trying to go with people outside of their race because they think that they make more money or that they are better people or they're more capable of love. I think it's just that they are more emotionally attracted and physically attracted to people outside of their race. That's a lucky thing, too. It's not a bad thing. It's a very good thing because the majority of society is white. And if you're not white, then it would make sense that you would prefer mostly white people because, I mean, most of your choices are white people. Being jealous and angry of people who are attracted to most of society is understandable because you have a small dating pool and we have much of a bigger dating pool. But yet, yeah, continue though.
As human, and the fact that they are not so disgusted by us as to not have sex with us, they make it up in the end by using us for something. Okay, let me just stop right there because even when...
as they call it, Divested Salad calls it, white smoke is just the same as dust and all the other words you use, spicy dust or yellow dust for that matter. They're all the same. They can all use and abuse you if you choose them, if you decide to let them have access to your resources. Well, that's not really anyone's fault because you chose those type of men. And it's all the same at the end of the day. The black man, the white man, the Asian man, the Hispanic man. If you choose wrong, you choose wrong. It's got nothing to do with the race, though. Continue.
If you look historically, even when they considered you animals, that didn't stop them from having sex. On the plantation, white men were having sex with black female slaves and black male slaves more.
That's not having sex, it's rape. Why do you guys always make light of the abuse of slaves in the past? It's so weird. Anyway, continue.
They were having sex with their white wives. They didn't look at them as humans, they look at them as cattle, as a product. So just because a white person has sex with you, that doesn't mean anything. That just means, again, this is, excuse me, this is a group of people that will have sex with animals, okay? What part of they will have sex with animals and anything? So it's not a compliment.
You do know there are black men who have had sex with animals. I've seen actual stories of this. It was so sad. I felt sorry for the pit bull. But yeah, there have been plenty of stories where black men have had sex with dogs and animals. Insane people come in all colors. White, black, Asian, Hispanic. What are you doing there? You can't make these weird assumptions on people. Like, this is just odd.
Or a testament to your elevation in society just because you can get the same person that will have sex with the dog to have sex with you. That doesn't mean that they see you as human. That doesn't mean...
No, but we're not choosing people who have sex with dogs. Or maybe do you choose black men who will have sex with dogs? I wouldn't be shocked. By some of the stuff you've talked about in your dating life, it appears you basically date bums. Men who ask money off of you and things of that nature. You like men who are bums. And that's why I think you're irritated, is because the type of men you choose. But it's not a racial basis, I don't really feel. It's more just the fact that you have a very low self-esteem of yourself. And that goes down to how you see yourself racially, as you can tell. Anyway, continue.
That they love you, that doesn't mean that they see you as special. That means they probably have a fetish and they want to have a kinky version of what they think is dirty plantation sex. That's what it is. For me, that was money.
Seriously, really? So that's what I mean. You constantly see white people as if they still, at this time, they still want slavery, or they're still fantasizing about slavery. You do know if white people were still fantasizing about slavery, or they still wanted black people in chains, you would be in chains right now. It wouldn't be any worry about it or anything. There's nothing you could fucking do about getting out of chains. If white people want you in chains, you would be in chains today. It's only white people that free black people. It's not black people. You really think black people, who aren't even 15% of the population, could control whether they're enslaved or not? They don't have enough of a decision in the legislative and the judicial and the executive branches to have a say in shit. We don't. It's just the truth. And I'm just saying, for the people in power right now, they could literally have you in chains today. If all white people wanted you in chains, you would be. You would be. There would be no voting them out either, because most people in America are white. So if white people wanted you in chains, you would be on a plantation right now in chains on that field. Or maybe inside, since you're a little bit lighter. Who really knows? But you would be enslaved. It wouldn't really matter. You'd be enslaved, for sure. So, I mean, I don't understand why you're trying to act like white people need to have a fantasy of slavery or still wish you were in chains. If they did, they would. You know, white people fought for black people to be free during slavery. It was white people who freed black people from slavery. It was white people who gave black men the right to vote. It was white people who gave the civil rights to black people. You know, everything that black people have ever had was from white people. It's just what it is. And, you know, even our first half black president, I know you are even a hater of biracials, you weird freak. But even our first black president, as I call it, was voted by mostly white people. So, I mean, like, if it was really up to that, it would just be, you know, none of that would occur, obviously, if they were all racist. Continue.
He almost stole my livelihood when I almost became homeless because of it. By the way, white men have never been disgusted by having sex with us because they've learned how to make sex disgusting by raping and enslaving black women ever since they created this country of America. They didn't create the country of America, we did. And
this is just weird. Now, why are you talking about 300 years ago? This is not in present day. You weren't alive. Were you ever a slave, lady? Like, what are you doing? Anyway, continue.
and sexualizing us so they have an excuse to do it.
5 more
Exactly, they
minutes
did
on
do
this
that
weird
because,
video.
and again, and white women were complicit in it. And that's the thing, where you can't talk about white supremacy and exclude white women from it. Because again, while white men were on the plantation raping black women.
That was 300 years ago, though. I don't understand. Why are you talking about something 300 years ago? We don't have the same people that were around 300 years ago. You weren't around 300 years ago. No white person right now is around 300 years ago. No black people are around 300 years ago. What are you doing? Continue.
White women were on the plantation manipulating black men into having sex with them, and in the event that she said no, then she was lying and screaming rape. That's something that she's doing to this day. It took some weeks, but reading the Miseducation of the Negro made me realize my inner worth, and I was able to get out of the relationship before things got too bad. And now I live in a really nice area, and he still lives in the White Asian Project with his.
Shoot, commercial. What I wanted to say to this is, I don't understand why these type of people are always talking about things that happened like over 100 years ago, 200, 300 years ago. And I think the reason they have all these things they want to talk about so long ago is because they want to hate, but they don't know how to come up with present day reasons to hate white people. So what they do in the process is try and come up with things from far long time ago, hundreds of years ago, and try and make excuses as to why they need to be racist and hate people. But yeah, continue. There's a commercial here, so bear with me. Sorry for the extra commercial. Apparently they're going to do two.
With his Nazi buddies while he tries to find other young girls to scam. That's the end of my intimate relationship. That's the end of any intimate relationship I'll ever have with white men. When you control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. He will find his proper place and he will stay in it. You do not need to send him to the back door. He will go without being told. In fact, if there is no back door, he will protest until one is made for his use. His education demands it. And the thing of it is, this basically sums up what's going on in the Black community. Black people have literally accepted and made the underclass a comfortable position for themselves. Like a lot of Black people in the Black community won't strive to be higher than the underclass. And a lot of us are not fighting out with it because you think that because you get to lay up with the white person that somehow has elevated your stance in society, and it hasn't. You should not be fighting racism and having sex with white people. That if that makes sense to you, then that's.
Yeah, but if you understand what I said all along, is technically throughout the history of Black people, white people have fought for them through slavery, through civil rights, and so forth. So when you say that white people, as if white people are synonymous with racism, when that's not true. If it was that white people were synonymous with racism, then like I said before, you wouldn't even be talking on this video, and I wouldn't be taping you right now and responding to your video, because we'd be both slaves. We'd both be in chains. Because if all white people wanted Black people to be slaves right now, they could. If that's just how it is. The U.S. legislature is mostly white. The judicial branch is mostly white. The executive branch is white. The voting bloc in America is mostly white. Okay, so if they wanted to do that, they could do it right now. They don't, because they're not racist. Okay. Oh shoot. Sorry, guys. I accidentally. Okay. Yeah, but if they wanted to do that, they could do it. They don't, because most people are not racist people. You just are making up lies because you hate white people and are just trying to come up with a reason to hate people. But continue.
why you're where you are. And you can sit there and say the one white person that you're with isn't racist. However, if they're not doing anything to end this racist system,
it's not just that person in that interracial relationship that's not racist. White people in general are, on average, are not racist. It's just the truth of it. Racism isn't a big part of society. It really isn't.
Then they are. They're sitting in silent compliance with it. Silence and neutrality to evil, racist hatred is the same as you being in compliance with it.
The only one racist is you, and you're racist against white people. That's it. Nobody else is racist, for real. But my whole point in showing this video to you guys is to show that this lady is not a friend to divested black women who are trying to support her. She hates white people. She doesn't just hate white women. She hates white men. She hates black women in interracial relationships, as she's trying to go after them right now. And she hates black men in interracial relationships. She hates anyone who is connected in any regard to white people. If they are biracial, she hates them too, because she hates that they're half white. She has a deep-seated hate for whiteness of any kind, any connection to white people of any kind. Even if you just are partial to white people, like for example, you have a lot of white friends or something, she probably hates them too. You know, she literally hates black people who are in interracial relationships. This shows you how much she hates white people, because these people are black people, but she just hates that they chose someone outside of her race. That because everything that's connected to a white person, be it their spouse, a child, anything connected to a white person, she hates. And if this isn't a hateful person, I don't know what is. I'll let the rest of this video go through and then say my commentary.
Plus, you get this experience up close and personal in your intimate relationship with Yoruba, so be careful. And see, it's the thing is good. I'm glad I'm glad that she wrote this, because this does. I bet there's tons of stories out there. Like I just did a story about a racist white man who said he was racist and had a very poor opinion of black people, but married a black woman. So I don't know why black people think they're somehow rehabilitating white people from racism by doing something that's always been done. Having sex with them isn't going to make them any less racist today than it did when they were on the plantation. That's just the reality of it.
I just don't understand. Keep going, I'm sorry.
Now you guys can sit here and convince yourself otherwise, or you can get smart, you can get some self-value, you can re-educate your mind and understand that you should have more value for yourself than to lay down with a group of people who have never seen you as equal to them. And in reality, you shouldn't want them to see you as equal to them, because you would have to lower yourself to feel like you're equal to them. I don't see myself as their equal at all, and there's no possible way I would lower myself to being with one of them. And yes, to me, I would have to lower myself to being with a white man. This is why I have never been with one, and I will never be with one, and I don't think other black women should too. Whether you decide to do that or not, it is on you. And of course, you can go out, you can be with whoever you want to be, you can do whatever you want to do, you can also reap the consequences of it. And black people are doing what they want to do, and they're dating and getting with whoever they want to. You can wrap it up in a pretty bow and call it love if you want to. Love produces results that are conducive to love. So why is it that there's so much interracial love between black people and white people, but black people are still fighting systematic racism and white supremacy that is perpetuated by white people? That makes no sense. So this is her story. I'll leave you guys a link in the description box so you guys can look.
I guess she's done. I just wanted to say, one, like I said in the beginning, you can't really say that all white people are racist, which is the point of this video. When, like I said, if they were all racist, if they all thought like they did back during slavery, then we would still be slaves. There's nothing stopping white people from making black people slaves whenever they want to. It's just a matter of a fact. If they choose to vote to make black people slaves, if they choose to change the Constitution to make it reflect that black people don't have rights, they can choose to do that. They can choose to do that with, the judicial branch, the executive branch, and the legislative branch. So it's just like they could do that if they wanted to now. There's nothing stopping them. They are the majority of society in America, and they have the most rights of all races when it comes to, voting and political power, because they're the majority. And rightfully so. It actually represents the American people, who are mostly white. So, obviously, if we have equal rights to white people, we aren't slaves. There is no systematic racism. There is no white privilege. They obviously, for the most part, are not racist, and they believe in equality among black and white people. You are just saying how you are racist. Look, you are the one who said you don't think that white people are equal to you. You think that white people are below you. I don't really care that you're not attracted to white people or whatever race. That's fine. But what you're saying basically is implying that you're a racist. And if a white person said all these things about black people, they would definitely say you're a very racist person. And that white person would definitely be a racist person. You definitely have the type of sentiment that some people in Stormfront have towards black people. I know, because I've seen some of their type of rhetoric. So I don't get why you are for some reason thinking that makes white people look badly. To me, it makes you look badly, because you're the one trying to hate white people, because I think, like I said, you have that inferiority complex. And if you really did love being black, you wouldn't tear other people's blackness down, which you have done in the past. You've attacked black women for their natural hair and so forth, because you don't think blackness is all that good. You feel jealous, I think, honestly, of white people. You can see this with your obsession with white women, most likely because you feel it defines your value as a black woman. You feel inferior to people because you aren't white but rather black, and you don't like being black. At the end of the day, you feel inferior for being black. So, I don't really see this as meaning, negativity against white men, white women, black women who interracially date, black men who interracially date. I think people who watch her channel and think she's a friend of divestment are really women who are just jealous of white women who interracially date, and really want black men or something, and that's their problem. They have a jealousy, anger issue going on there. They feel inferior to white women. Kind of her whole concept of things. Similar situation. Maybe they choose to be with other races, but their main issue with that. And personally, to me, it's just like, I don't relate to them. And honestly, they do feel like a bit of an insult, because, as a black woman myself, I don't feel inferior. And when black women act like being a black woman is inferior, it's insulting to me. And also, one other thing I wanted to say was, this is the main reason I have an issue with Cynthia G, is because of these videos. She never apologizes for these past videos, and she just constantly seems to have a perspective where she's actually proud to be basically, attacking white people, black people who interracially date, male or female. And also, I also feel like, her issue remains basically with any type of situation that's a connection to white people because of her deep-seated hate with white people. This is why she hates biracial people. This is why she hates black people and interracial relationships with white people, be it they're black males or black women. People tried to say that she's changed her mind on black women, but you can tell she doesn't because of her other videos towards black men with white women. And lastly, because personally to me, I think this was obvious from the start. If someone has an issue with someone interracially dating, they don't really care if it's a black man or a black woman. And this kind of basically shows you how she didn't care then. And considering she still has an issue with black men with white women, you can pretty much tell that she still has an issue with black women with white men. I mean, you'd have to be super dumb to not realize that she still has this perspective now. So yeah, this is pretty much the last video I do a review on for a little bit of a while. I'll probably do a few other reviews comparing to maybe her current videos. I've shown some videos with this type of mentalities only 2 years ago in my previous videos, so please do not try and act like it's been a long time that she's acted this way.